What's up, y'all? We back, and I got something to talk about. I got something that I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna chalk it up to ignorance of symbols, words, and the historical meaning behind them. But first, this is the hard road. Thank you for being here. And we're going to work through anything and everything that comes by us. Today, we're working through something that is bugging me. After yesterday, obviously everybody knows, Joe Biden committed treason. But I've seen a trend on Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube of inverted flags. So this is what I'm talking about with the ignorance. This is what I'm talking about just don't have the information, which is what ignorance means. Don't mean you're dumb. Don't mean that you're wrong in your head. It just means that you don't know. Like me, I'm ignorant to alien life. I don't know if aliens are real or not. I don't know, I guess we'll see. But something that we do know, something called the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, as well as law in the U.S. And in that law, there's a code. It's not necessarily a law, but it becomes law under the UCMJ. And it talks about how you should fly the flag, when you should fly the flag, and it specifically speaks on inverting the flag. Now, I've seen posts of an inverted flag. Some of them are just the inverted. Some of them have distressed. The flag code goes to dire distress, i.e., the Alamo, being overrun, enemies at all four corners and everywhere in between, no chance of survival unless we get reinforcements. And we all know how the Alamo fell. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe the Alamo was the last military compound to ever fly that flag inverted. Just in case y'all don't understand what I'm saying, inverted is upside down. Stars pointed down. Just so we're clear. That was a last-ditch effort. They raised it as high as they could, hoping that somebody in the distance might see it. Somebody in the distance might come to help them. Somebody in the distance might come to save them. We got nobody to save us. Our allies are too weak, and our enemies hate us. So why would you fly that flag upside down? Who's coming? Who are you calling? It's an honest question. I want you to think about that. Who's coming and who are you calling? What we need to be focused on is what I talked about in the last video. Going back to the original foundation of this country, And yes, I understand it wasn't perfect. I understand that there was slavery. However, slavery was the way of the world, and slavery was an imprisonment sentence because we didn't have a county and a federal prison every couple of miles like we do now. Was it done wrongly? Absolutely. Is it still done wrongly? Absolutely. But we have to unite past our past. Because we can all point fingers. But just remember, when you point a finger, you got 3 pointed back at yourself. Can't remember the exact verse in the Bible, but it basically says, let the first that who throws the stone be sin free. Something along those lines. I'm actually planning on reading the Bible again here soon. I read it when I was younger. I remember some of the stuff, but it's something that, if nothing else, it's knowledge. And if we don't read it and we don't relay it, it gets destroyed and gets forgotten. So we need to unite and turn that flag upside down. I'm going to tell you from a veteran, from a combat veteran's opinion. When I see that flag turned upside down for a political statement, for anything other than your life is in danger statement, that flag being turned upside down is no different than Antifa and all these other groups that have been stepping on them, that have been burning them, that kneel for the anthem. The red stripes in that flag, you can see on the screen, literally, quite literally, represent the blood that has been spilled and that will be spilled to put up that invisible wall that I've talked about before, that invisible wall of freedom, so that you can keep doing whatever it is that you do and not have to worry about what's going on outside that wall. There's a reason why when we name a flag, we don't name it America's flag. It's the American flag. It's the Marines flag. It's the Marines' birthday. It's the Marines flag. It's ours. It's not the country's. It's ours. That flag being turned upside down, or that flag hitting the ground, means that all is lost. This shit ain't lost. Donald Trump could be in solitary confinement. I don't know if y'all have watched everything going on today after everything that went on yesterday. But his, what do they call it? The donation. His donation website literally has exploded. Not just shut down. It's exploded like 10 times since the court came down. There's liberals, independents, and Republicans that never would have considered voting for him, that hated him, that hated the words that come out of his mouth. But you got to stop listening to your feelings and look at the results. Look at what he did. I'm not going to spend the time sitting here and knocking him down. But the amount of things that he did, in spite of being persecuted from the second that he came down that escalator, which is why I say it took him 9 years. 9 years to figure out a way to keep him from office. And I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't going to work. His poll ratings have increased by 15% overnight. So turn your flag back upright. We're not to that point yet. Don't become the snowflakes. I keep hearing people say, oh, well, now it's our turn. Now it's our turn to riot. Now it's our turn to protest. Now it's our turn to... No. We stay up here in the atmosphere. We don't go down where the snowflakes are. We create the snowflakes. And hopefully we teach them to rise with us. Hopefully we bring them up. We open their eyes. Because there's woke, which I don't know if you know, but this is an actual law. I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. If you wake me up, I'm not responsible for the first 5 seconds of my actions. That's being woke. Okay? I think woke had its purpose, and then it got taken advantage of. Just like BLM had its purpose, and then it got taken advantage of. That being said, there's a huge difference between woke and awake. Eyes open. Over the last few years, I've been able to show people videos of things like the Charlotte's incident, where they've got him on video saying there's good people on both sides. But they cut the part where he says, well, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the KKK. Those should be, they're horrible people. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But these are great people. They cut that part. And they enraged half the nation. I think I'm lying. Look it up. There's actually an entire plethora of trash on YouTube. You can pull up the media's worst lies of Trump. You can also pull up the last 50 years of racism of Joe Biden. One of Joe Biden's best, actually two of Joe Biden's best friends were grand dragons of the KKK. I.e., the KKK that was founded by the Democratic Party because too many black people and too many white Southerners were voting Republican. And that transpired into the hippie movement, and that transpired into Antifa, Black Lives Matter. Now all this other shit going on with the other wars as they're stepping over homeless veterans to fucking protest over fucking a war in Israel and Ukraine. What I call them is the unpaid army. Other people call them useful idiots. So don't fall to their level. Stay up here. Keep doing the right thing. Keep talking, which is what I'm trying to do right now. Because if you notice, Donald Trump went from like 2% not at election day, which is what the numbers are showing. We had 2% of black voters, like 4% of Hispanic voters, and now both of them are well over 20% and growing. Joe Biden just had he tried to pander, I think it was in Philadelphia or maybe it was in New York. He tried to pander to the black community, and he couldn't even fill up a high school gymnasium. Again, real, look it up. The same day, so I'm pretty sure, actually, you know what, I'm pretty sure it was in New York. Same day, relatively the same location. The streets were lined, jam-packed with bodies. With black voters, Hispanic voters, New Yorkers. And again, I hate like dropping African American, Black American. No, you're not African American, not Black American, not Mexican American, not Asian American. You're American with a heritage that comes from other countries that you've brought here, that has become the American melting pot, which is what we were taught when we were kids. It was a melting pot. Because I can go that way and go get Chinese food. I can go that way and go get Mexican food. I can go that way and go get Italian food. And you don't have to be Chinese, Mexican, or Italian to walk in the door and go get that food. There's a part in Braveheart where Mel Gibson walks up to, I think it was the Earl or something. I can't remember what his name was, but he was basically the one that was supposed to be set up to be the king of Scotland if Scotland did what England required them to do. He would be basically a false king sitting on a throne. William Wallace, aka Mel Gibson, walks up to him and goes, "Unite us. Unite the clans." There's nothing wrong with having different thoughts, different theories, different opinions. You can see that going as generic as possible. Go down to your siblings, or if you didn't have a sibling, your friend's siblings, or your parents. How often do they fight? How often do they argue? But if somebody came in the house, somebody came in trying to invade your home, hurt you, or anybody in your family, in your house, in your four walls, in your border, no matter how bad the fight was you had that night, you would unite together and do everything you could to fend them off together. There's nothing wrong with arguing, not seeing things the same. It's actually a good thing because it keeps both sides of thought. I'm not talking about both sides of Democrat, Republican, all. I'm just both sides of thought. Well, many sides of thought. Keeps them all honest. Makes you think. That's why science is science. And when they were talking about just trust the science during the COVID, well, literally the definition of science is to figure something out and then have as many others come in and question the hell out of it to try to make sure that you're right. And if you're not right, then try to make it better. So having differing opinions is a good thing. But having a war within ourselves, within our household, within our family, within our borders, What kind of a message do you think that that sends to every other country around us? What do you think it did with Putin? Putin was like, now I can do whatever I want. And I guarantee you, mark my words, before Trump gets inaugurated, China will have invaded Japan, and Biden will stand by. The reason why Japan is such a huge issue right now is because they are the main source. It's like 80 something, 90 something percent main source of all the vital chips, the stupid little electronic chips that run all of your vehicles, all of your phones, hell, some of your households, satellites, tanks, airplanes. And we have a contract with them to protect them. And in turn, we have a good trade deal with them. If we falter on that, we already seen how during the pandemic, the China-demic, the plandemic, we already seen how not producing things here hurts us. And it's funny because all these social justice heroes are making videos, putting it on TikTok, on their phones that are made by communists that pay children cents per day to build the phone. And then TikTok is ran by China. They go to Africa and they mine cobalt and other minerals with African children and the poor. I've even seen videos of a woman, multiple women actually, with the baby strapped to her chest as she's digging cobalt out of the river. We have to unite. We have to fix this. We have to do better every day. And not tomorrow, not next week. I'm not going to start next week. I'm not going to start next month. I'll wait until New Year's and I'll do New Year's resolution to do better. No. We got to do better now. Not just for ourselves, but for our family, for our country. And once we fix our country, then we can reach out and help fix the world. So please, go out to your flagpole. Flip your flag over. Make it right. Let her hang high in the sky. Be appreciative and be proud of the blood, the sweat, and the tears that it's taken and it still takes to keep that invisible wall up and around us. But just remember, military, police, I'm not sure if fire does it. I think most government does it. They take an oath to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, foreign and Joe Biden, foreign and the Democratic Party at this given time. I'm not saying all of your Democrats. I'm not shooting at you. This is the leadership. Questioning the leadership is essential. That's why our founders put the checks and balances in place. That's why one has to check this one, has to check this one. That's why it takes so long to pass a bill, pass a law, do anything. Because if it was easy, somebody could get in power and just drop a handful of shit all at once. But we got to check ourselves. And ourselves, politicians aren't special. They're just put in a position that we put them in. We can take them out of. It's kind of like when your mom said, I brought you into this world, I can take you out of it, when she was mad at you. We put them into that world, we can take them out of it. And that's what they're afraid of with Trump. Because he's not one of them. He's not tied to all their money that's coming in. He don't need any of the money that's coming in that they're siphoning from us. And this last case that they just did on him, it's not going to stand, but it's going to stand probably long enough to get past the election, which is election interference, 100%. That was the main goal, was to be able to have a talking point. Just like when Joe Biden ripped everybody out of Afghanistan, we lost 13 Marines and countless other civilians and our civilian translators and everybody that helped us over there that are still stuck. There's still got guys like Andy Stump that are going over there as a civilian and doing special ops to go get interpreters and their families out of Afghanistan. Not to mention the billions of dollars of the material that we left there. Tanks, planes, helicopters, ammunition, guns. I think it took about 3 days. And China came in and bought it all from Al-Qaeda. A lot of people, for a lot of years, when you would say stuff like this, would call you a conspiracy theorist and, oh, you're just another Alex Jones. Well, it turns out that Alex Jones is, honestly, he's right about 85% of the time. But why? Why is he right? Because he questions it, because he researches it, because he looks into stuff that matters to him. I tell my kids, as I've been raising them, don't believe me, don't believe your mother, don't believe the TV, don't believe the internet, but listen and hear everything that you hear, and then do your own research. Look it up. Make your own opinion. Because that's what being American is all about. You go to China, you don't have your own opinion. You go to Korea, you don't have your own opinion. You go to Russia, you don't have your own opinion. And if you happen to speak your own opinion, you're either thrown in the gulag or you're killed on the spot. So again, we live in the greatest country in the world, the greatest country that the world has ever known. But we're headed down a rough road right now. Hard men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. We're somewhere in between that weak men and hard times. And if those weak men don't start standing up and start understanding what the world is. When I say weak and hard, strong, it's collaborative. It's not just one man with muscles. It's the country. It's the community. It's your family. United we stand. Divided we fall. That used to be a saying after the Twin Towers fell. But when we got too united, politicians found something to separate us with. When Nixon was uniting the country, CIA jumped in and instead of assassinating him, they assassinated his character. The Kennedys, Malcolm X, Martin, hell, all the way back to Lincoln. They know that if we stand together, united as one people, no matter where you came from, you came here for a reason. That's what unites us. And they know that if we unite, send our voice all as one, they can't ignore us, they can't avoid us, and they can't get away from us. And they will lose all their power. That's why they assault on Trump and anybody that backs him. I mean, you look at like the rappers and stuff that showed up for him, and all the minority communities that showed up for him in the Bronx. They instantly, the media, go back and look. Like I'm not telling nothing that hasn't been on normal TV, let alone, coming out of the White House. They called all the people to include, they called the rappers murderers. And without saying, what was that word that Hillary said? Deplorable. Without saying deplorable, they basically said deplorable to all the other people. The 20,000 people that showed up to see him after he got out of court one day. As soon as they're no longer useful to the Democratic Party, they talk shit on you. Why would you be affiliated with anybody that was like that? So again, back to the main point of this. We are not, I say again, we are not in dire distress. Not yet. But we do need to take action. We do need to stop being the sleeping giant. We do need to stop turning the other cheek. Because that's the biggest issue with the Republican Party, is that we are too nice, that we don't push the point. We don't stand on what we believe in. We just turn the other cheek. With basically, it comes from the Christian background, the Christian ideals, Catholic, religious, all of it. And we've let these people say and do whatever they want for years and years. And we just let it go. Just like, just don't worry about it. Don't pay attention to it. Just ignore it. Well, not worrying about it, not paying attention to it, and ignoring it has put us down the path to where we stand right now. I'm pretty sure just about every religion they talk about going to war, murder, conflict, all that is against the religion. Until it comes to the point of preservation. But as you learn in martial arts, and as I taught my kids, going through jiu-jitsu and wrestling and all that, you defend yourself. You defend those who are weaker than yourself, but only to the minimum force necessary to get out of that situation. I pray to God so hard that it never comes down to having another civil war. Because the lives that will be lost will literally be uncountable and so devastating that it'll destroy us. It won't defend one side or the other. It will destroy both sides. You can't fight fire with fire. You have to fight fire with water. Because when you fight fire with fire, you make a bigger fire. So don't be a snowflake. Don't fall to their level. Don't do all the bullshit that they've done over the last few years and over the 10s and 20 years. I'm only 39 years old, and I didn't really start noticing any of this until about 10 years ago. Getting involved in understanding what was going on in the actual country. But reading history shows that that old saying, history repeats itself unless you stop it. It's true, because that's exactly what we're doing right now. So flip your flag. Whether it's a physical flag on a pole, or on your social media, or in your house. If you got a picture of it and it's hanging upside down, flip it back upside down. Or flip it back up right side up. And show them that you still have pride even though they hit us. Because getting hit by a little punk, letting them win a small battle that literally has no effect on the outcome of the war, it's going to happen. But by flipping that flag, you're showing them that they are winning. They're gaining ground. You're giving up ground is what's happening. They're not gaining it, you're giving it. So chin up, eyes front, chest forward, all 10 toes dug in the ground. Let's keep on moving. Up, down, left, right. Down this hard road. But let's do it together. I'm going to say it again. Unite us. Unite the clans. Do one more. My favorite quote from that movie, from Braveheart. The good Lord says that I'll be okay, but he's pretty sure you're fucked. We'll be okay. They're fucked. Be proud to be an American. Stand up against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And not only will we make it to that 250-year mark, we'll keep moving. We'll keep going. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. This country is one big family. And once everybody understands that, we'll be better for it. Have a good night, y'all.